Welcome back to Shivers and Stories. From the depths of Greek mythology emerged two formidable creatures, the Sphinx and the Harpy. These beings, shrouded in mystery and feared for their power, represent contrasting aspects of the ancient world. The Sphinx, with its enigmatic riddle, embodies wisdom and challenges. The Harpies, with their fierce cries and relentless attacks, embody untamed nature and divine retribution. Imagine a confrontation between these legendary beings. Picture the silent, watchful Sphinx perched upon its rocky throne. Its piercing gaze meets the frenzied flapping of wings as the Harpies descend from the sky. The very air crackles with anticipation. Who would prevail in this epic showdown? Join us as we delve into the myths and legends surrounding the Sphinx and the Harpy. We'll explore their origins, powers, and the tales that have made them enduring figures in Western literature and art. Prepare yourself for a clash of titans. The Sphinx, a creature of Egyptian origin, found its way into Greek mythology through tales of wonder and terror. This enigmatic being with the body of a lion and the head of a woman became forever linked to the city of Thebes. There, perched atop a rocky crag, the Sphinx terrorized the city with its deadly riddle. "What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening?" the Sphinx would ask, its voice echoing through the desolate landscape. Those who failed to answer correctly met a gruesome end, devoured by the monstrous creature. The fate of Thebes rested on the shoulders of Oedipus, a young man destined for greatness. Confronted by the Sphinx and its deadly challenge, Oedipus displayed remarkable intellect. He solved the riddle, declaring man, who crawls on all fours in infancy, walks upright in his prime, and leans on a cane in old age. While the Sphinx presented a challenge of intellect, the Harpies were forces of pure, untamed nature. These winged creatures, often depicted with the faces of women and the bodies of birds, were agents of divine punishment. Their very presence brought with it a stench of decay and the promise of misfortune. One famous myth tells the story of King Phineus of Thrace, who angered the gods with his arrogance. As punishment, Zeus unleashed the Harpies upon him. These foul creatures descended upon Phineus's kingdom, snatching away his food and leaving behind a trail of filth and despair. The Harpies' cries were said to be unbearable, a cacophony of screeching and wailing that drove men mad. Their feathers carried disease, and their touch could wither crops and poison wells. They were the embodiment of vengeance and the wrath of the gods made manifest. The Sphinx's power lies not in brute force but in its cunning intellect. Its ability to craft and pose riddles, puzzles designed to challenge the very core of one's being, makes it a formidable opponent. The Sphinx's true strength lies in its stillness, its patient observation, and its ability to exploit the weaknesses of its prey. Imagine approaching the Sphinx, its imposing form silhouetted against the setting sun. Its eyes, filled with ancient wisdom, seem to pierce through your very soul. The weight of its gaze, the sheer pressure of its presence is enough to unnerve even the bravest of heroes. But the Sphinx's greatest weapon is its riddle. This is no mere game or test of trivia, it is a challenge to the very core of your being, a puzzle that forces you to confront your own mortality and the complexities of the human condition. Fury in flight, the Harpy's swift vengeance. In stark contrast to the Sphinx's calculated stillness, the Harpies are creatures of pure, unbridled fury. Their power lies in their swiftness, their ferocity, and their ability to strike fear into the hearts of men. They are the embodiment of chaos and destruction, descending upon their victims with terrifying speed and relentless aggression. Imagine the Harpies, circling overhead, their piercing cries echoing through the air. Their wings beat with powerful strokes, creating gusts of wind that whip at your clothing and sting your eyes. The stench of decay precedes them, a foul reminder of their presence and the havoc they bring. And then, the attack. Swift and merciless, the Harpies swoop down, their talons bared and their beaks snapping. They are relentless in their assault, driven by a primal hunger and a thirst for vengeance. When intellect meets instinct, imagining the showdown. The clash between the Sphinx and the Harpies is a battle of intellect versus instinct, of calculated planning versus raw, untamed power. It is a confrontation that pits two vastly different creatures against each other, each with its own unique strengths and weaknesses. Imagine the scene. The Sphinx, perched atop its rocky throne, its gaze fixed on the horizon. It has sensed the approach of the Harpies, their foul stench carried on the wind. The Sphinx knows that this will be no ordinary encounter. It must rely on its cunning and its intellect to overcome these swift and merciless creatures. The Harpies, meanwhile, are driven by instinct. They sense the presence of the Sphinx, its strange, otherworldly aura drawing them in like moths to a flame. They circle overhead, their cries echoing through the air, their hunger and their rage building with each passing moment. Scenario 1. The Riddle in the Ruins. Let us envision the first scenario. The Sphinx, ever the strategist, chooses its battleground carefully. It lures the Harpies to a crumbling ruin, a labyrinth of broken columns and crumbling walls. Here, amidst the shadows and the dust, the Sphinx's intellect reigns supreme. As the Harpies descend upon the ruins, their cries echoing through the desolate corridors, the Sphinx retreats deeper into the labyrinth. It knows that the Harpies, with their chaotic energy and their reliance on speed and maneuverability, are ill-suited for this kind of close-quarters combat. The Sphinx uses the ruins to its advantage, its knowledge of the terrain allowing it to outmaneuver its swift but less intelligent foes. It lays traps using the crumbling architecture to its advantage, luring the Harpies into dead ends and ambushes. Scenario 2. Aerial assault and evasive maneuvers, but the Harpies are not easily defeated. In a second scenario, they use their superior speed and agility to launch a relentless aerial assault. The Sphinx, despite its size and strength, is vulnerable to attacks from above. The Harpies swoop and dive, their talons raking at the Sphinx's flanks, their beaks snapping at its eyes. The Sphinx roars in defiance, its powerful paws swiping at the air, but the Harpies are too quick, too agile. Yet the Sphinx is not without its defenses. It uses its massive wings to create powerful gusts of wind, disrupting the Harpies' flight patterns and sending them off balance. It retreats to open ground, where it has more room to maneuver and defend itself. Who reigns supreme? A balance of power. Determining a clear victor in this epic clash proves challenging. The Sphinx, with its formidable intellect and strategic thinking, might initially seem to hold the upper hand. Its ability to anticipate and exploit weaknesses could prove crucial in outsmarting the impulsive and instinct-driven Harpies. However, the Harpies' relentless assault and mastery of aerial combat cannot be underestimated. Their speed and agility, coupled with their ability to inflict a constant barrage of attacks, could overwhelm the Sphinx's defenses, wearing it down over time. Ultimately, the outcome of this battle hinges on a delicate balance of power. The Sphinx's success depends on its ability to exploit the environment and outmaneuver its foes. The Harpies, on the other hand, must rely on their speed and ferocity to overwhelm the Sphinx's defenses. Section 10. The verdict you decide. So, who emerges victorious from this epic clash of mythical titans? The answer, dear viewer, lies within your imagination. Consider the strengths and weaknesses of each creature. Weigh the possible scenarios and the strategic advantages each combatant might employ. Would the Sphinx's cunning intellect prevail against the Harpy's untamed fury? Or would the Harpy's relentless assault prove too much for even the Sphinx's formidable defenses? The choice ultimately is yours. Beyond the battlefield, more mythical matchups. The battle between the Sphinx and the Harpies is but a taste of the endless possibilities that lie within the realm of mythological showdowns. Imagine the titans of Greek legend clashing on the battlefield, Hercules facing the Hydra, Perseus battling Medusa, or Odysseus outwitting the Cyclops. Let your imagination soar as you envision these epic confrontations. Consider the unique strengths and weaknesses of each creature, their legendary exploits, and the awe-inspiring powers they wield. The world of mythology is a tapestry woven from tales of gods and monsters, heroes and villains, and the battles that rage between them.